Well, 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 look who it is. You ready to do this? I was born ready. Well, all right then. Let's see who gets to go first. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Gotcha. Guess you get to go first. Darn right.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take Jeff. Let's go, baby. Dream team. Okay. Yeah. Jeff. Take Jeff.
Jeff?
I thought that was a girl. Who's with me? Come on, man. Thin to win. I'll stand sideways. They won't even see me coming. Pajama Jeff. Dang, man. Come on. Short Jeff. I mean, he's not even tall enough to ride a roller coaster. Come on, guys. Jeff, you gotta pick me. We'll go juggling Jeff. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I get that one. He's amazing. Sleeping bag Jeff. Come on. Jeff. The creepy helmet Jeff. Come on, he can't even see out of that thing. It's all fogged up anyways. I got Jeff. Yes. All right, Woolly Skins. What's up, everyone? We're kicking off a brand new series today called The Greatest Show. And the main idea that we're focusing on is our identity, answering the questions of who am I, where do I fit in, am I accepted? Because I think a lot of times we're putting on our own show for the people around us. Like we try to show off or act cool or tough or pretty or smart or try to gain the approval and acceptance from the people around us. Like we want to be liked and loved and accepted and to be known. And while all of those things are true and how we were created, there's a better way to find that love and acceptance. And so we're going to spend a few weeks just talking about just that, like how to be liked, loved, and accepted and known, but in the right way, without having to constantly put on a show. But before we dig into that stuff, I need to ask you all a question. We're clearly rolling with a theme here. And so I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the circus? Like, do you like the circus? Does it freak you out? On a scale from 1 to 5, I want everyone to hold up their hands so everyone can see. How much do clowns freak you out? Hold them up high so definitely everyone can see. Because for me, I'm definitely a 4. Like, ever since the trailer for It came out, I've been out on clowns. Like, I didn't even need to see the movie. I just know. You stay down there, scary sewer clown, you mind your own business, and maybe we can get along. But it's interesting because creepy, weird, and even scary people is how the circus got started and gained its traction in the first place. Like a couple of 100 years ago, a guy named P.T. Barnum, he had this dream for what he called a traveling oddity museum that would turn into what we know as the circus today. And so this Barnum guy, he traveled all around looking for a cast of characters who were, in the world's eyes, just unattractive, strange, and odd in order to attract a crowd, which seems a little weird, right? Like almost backwards, but it worked. Like he got this crazy group of people together and who were all seen as outcasts and untouchables by most people. Like they were freaks in the eyes of others. Individually, these were people who would never be picked for any team or included in anything by people, and yet crowds of people lined up in droves to see this group of misfits. And it's such an interesting concept for me because it's never fun to feel like a performer that people expect to entertain them or to feel like an outcast. Like, have any of you ever been picked last for a team? It doesn't exactly make you feel the best. In fact, it can make you feel pretty terrible. And now let me flip that and ask the other side of the question. Like, have any of you been picked first for a team? Because that, on the other hand, that can feel like the best feeling ever. Like maybe you were picked first because the captain saw something in you, or maybe the team believed in your leadership or your gifts, or that your skills would be what led that team to victory. And whether it's getting chosen for the basketball team or the debate team, a group project, or even a seat at the cool table, it feels great to be chosen and wanted, doesn't it? And tonight, as we're kicking off this series on identity, I want you to know that all of these feelings, like, they're normal. Like, it makes sense that we'd feel a little bit of a sting when we feel like we haven't been chosen or seen. And it makes sense on the other side that we'd feel a little bit of pride and satisfaction when we feel like we have. But if we're not careful, we can give these feelings of disappointment or excitement just a little too much weight. Like, sometimes we let these moments do more than disappoint or excite us. Like sometimes we let them define us. And if we're not careful, we can allow our identities to be just wrapped up in how other people see us and treat us. And I can say that for myself, like I've spent, and to be honest, spend way too much time caring about what other people think of me. And if I'm doing the right things or acting the right way, I'm good enough at this, look good enough, act funny enough, dress cool enough, talk the right way, look the right way, act the right way, and feel accepted enough. Like, can any of you relate to that? Like, have you ever cared so much about what someone else said or thought about you that their opinions of you began to shape your opinions of yourself? Like maybe you've heard people say that you're too slow or too quiet or too loud. Maybe they've told you that you're funny or not funny or that you're nice or bossy. Like maybe you've heard that you have so much potential, or maybe you've been told that you won't amount to much at all. Like I don't know what kinds of opinions have been shared about you, but what I do know is that the opinions of others, they're powerful, especially in middle and high school. And that's why I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only person who feels insecure in a lot of the areas that I just mentioned. Like for good or bad, the opinions of other people can shape our identities. And so today I want to spend some time thinking about one specific person's opinion of us, and that's our Creator. And so let's take a look at what God has to say about you in Scripture and talk about how God's opinion of you can and should shape your identity. And I want to start right at the beginning in Genesis chapter 1, where our creation is first talked about. It says, "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. And God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day." And so the very first thing that God says about us in Scripture is what? That one, we are made in his image, and two, that we are very good. And this is such an important place to start. Like when God created you, he said that you are very good because you are his handiwork and made in his image. But unfortunately, that's not all that we are. Like, yes, we're made in God's image and God called his creation very good, but it's probably not a surprise that humanity isn't always good. Like, I think we've all been known to do, say, think, and believe some pretty not good things sometimes. And so let's take a look at a few more things that God says about us in Romans 5. It says, "You see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." So what does God say about us here? Some of these words, they're pretty ugly, aren't they? Like, I don't really want to think of myself in some of these terms, but if I'm honest, I know they're true. You see, when sin entered into the world, it separated us from God. Like, we are outcasts and enemies of God because of sin. But God knew this in advance. Like, he knew that we would choose sin and that sin would separate us from him. But he wasn't about that. He was about redemption, reconciliation, and bringing us back into relationship. And so, yes, God says that we are sinners, but he also says that we're loved. He said that he loved us even when we didn't say it back. Like, when we were outcasts, God says that we are loved. When we are at our worst, God shows us his best. Even when we and everyone else says that we're broken, dispensable, ugly, worthless, and unlovable, God says that you are loved. And this message is echoed all throughout scriptures in passages like Romans 6:6 and Romans 15:7, John 1:12, John 3:16, and so much more. Like, God is not shy about letting you know that you are loved and you are his handiwork. And now, I don't want to assume right now, but have all of you seen The Greatest Showman? It might not be the most historically accurate movie, but I love this version of P.T. Barnum's story. In the movie, Barnum is like a coach building this dream team of oddball players. That he saw something in The Bearded Lady and in Tom Thumb and in the Wheeler Twins. Again, these were the people that the world had cast aside, and yet Barnum, he saw value in them. Before being chosen by Barnum, many of these characters adopted the world's opinions of themselves. Like, they didn't believe that they mattered. But when Barnum told them that they were valuable, guess what? They began to see themselves the way that Barnum saw them, like they were loved. And now, as we wrap things up for the day, here's the question that I want you to think about and reflect on. Do you believe that you are loved? Because when you choose to believe what God says about you, that you're loved beyond measure, that you're designed in his image, that you're created for good and not evil, it changes the things that you believe about yourself. But that change, it's not going to happen until you choose to believe it and then do something about it. Like, I know that the opinions of others are powerful. They can shape how you see yourself and how you move throughout the world, but their opinions aren't the ones that matter most. God's is. And so this week, here's what I want you to know, to believe, and to remember. You are so loved. Like, I love you, the people in this room love you, and most importantly, you are loved beyond your wildest dreams by the God who created you. Like, you are loved. Now go live like it.